how are you doing, Senator? My favorite senator from South Georgia. I was talking to that senator. I was talking about the senator from Albany. So, the time for convening has arrived. The Senate will come to order. At this time, I'll ask unauthorized personnel to exit the chamber. I recognize the distinguished senator from Coweta County.
Good morning, Mr. President, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Georgia State Senate. And I would like to announce today's pages. Coming in hot out of Noonan, Georgia, we have Emma Cunningham. We have Marty Bailey. We have William McCall. We have Ava Kuhn. And we have Nilu Perkins. So our pages today will be working hard for the great citizens of Georgia and for us as well. So please be nice to them. Today is Groundhog Day, and it's Tater Tot Day, and it is World Play Your Ukulele Day. So with that, the journal has been read and found to be correct.
Thank you, Senator. And yes, I see our pages there in the back there. Let's give them a round of applause there. Appreciate them being here. I hope y'all have fun today, and I know you'll do a good job. Thank you, Senator from the 28th, for the reading of the journal. Is there objection to dispensing with the reading of the journal? Chair hears none, and the reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair hearing none, the journal is confirmed. All senators who have bills and resolutions to introduce, please bring them to the Secretary's desk. Secretary, read the caption. First reading of Senate bills and resolutions.
Senate Bill 64 by Senators Robertson of the 29th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 311014 of the Official Code of Georgia relating to issuance of a new birth certificate following adoption and legitimation.
Children and family.
Senate Bill 65 by Senators Watson of the 1st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 33 relating to general provisions so as to authorize the Commissioner of Insurance to take certain action.
Insurance and labor.
Senate Bill 66 by Senator Hickman of the 4th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 1562 relating to the number of judges of superior courts so as
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 67 by Senator Moore of the 53rd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 4 of Chapter 11 of Title 16 relating to dangerous instrumentalities and practices so as to provide for protections against the infringement.
Interstate cooperation.
Senate Bill 68 by Senator Williams of the 25th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 1614.3 relating to definitions regarding racketeer influenced and corrupt organizations so as to include the offense of dogfighting. Senate Bill 69 by Senator Watson of the 1st and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 3 of Title 50 relating to state flag, seal, and other symbols so as to provide for placement of a monument. Senate Bill 70 by Senator Jones of the 10th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 14 of Chapter 1 of Title 10 relating to secondary metal recyclers so as to provide that it shall be illegal for certain persons. Senate Bill 71 by Senator Jones of the 10th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 46-311 relating to manner of writing.
Public safety.
Senate Bill 72 by Senator Jones of the 10th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 10 of Chapter 6 relating to general provisions relative to stopping, standing, and parking so as to provide for the designation of electric vehicle.
Transportation.
Senate Bill 73 by Senators Tillery of the 19th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 2 of Chapter 5 of Title 46.
Regulated industries.
Senate Bill 74 by Senators Tillery of the 19th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Titles 10, 15, and 51 relating to commerce and trade, courts, and torts,
Judiciary.
respectively. Senate Bill 75 by Senators Parent of the 42nd and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Part 3 of Article 4 of Chapter 11 of Title 16 relating to carrying. Senate Resolution 76 by Senators Kirkpatrick of the 32nd and others, a resolution encouraging any organization that administers or conducts high-risk athletic activities for children 14 and under.
Children and family.
Senate Resolution 82 by Senator Summers of the 13th and others, a resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution so as to authorize the tax commissioner, subject to local governing authority approval, to waive certain
Banking.
delinquent. That completes the order, Mr. President.
First readings and references to House bills.
House Bill 57 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, a bill to be entitled an act to authorize the governing authority of the town of Tallulah Falls to levy an excise
State
tax.
and local government.
House Bill 58 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, a bill to be entitled an act to authorize the governing authority of the city of Sky
State and
Valley.
local government.
House Bill 59 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, a bill to be entitled an act to authorize the governing authority of Rabun County to levy an excess tax pursuant to
State and local
subsection.
government.
House Bill 60 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, a bill to be entitled an act to authorize the governing authority of the city of Clayton to levy an excise tax pursuant to
State and
subsection.
local government.
House Bill 61 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, a bill to be entitled an act to authorize the governing authority of the city of Dillard to levy an.
State and local government.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
Secretary will read the report on standing committees.
Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Economic Development and Tourism has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 26 do pass, respectfully submitted by Senator Beach of the 21st District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Health and Human Services Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 1 do pass by substitution. Respectfully submitted, Senator Watson of the 1st District Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Public Safety has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. Senate Bill 36 do pass by substitute. Senate Bill 37 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Albers of the 56th District Chairman. That completes the order, Mr. President.
It is now time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Senator from the 33rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, y'all. I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the following senators for business outside the Capitol, number 38 and number 5.
Without objection, senators from the 38th and the 5th are excused. Senator from the 24th.
Mr. President, I'd like to excuse the senator from the 23rd.
Without objection, senator from the 23rd is excused. Any other motions? Senator from the 22nd.
Also unanimous consent, Mr. President, excuse the senator from the 41st for business inside the Capitol.
Without objection, senator from the 41st is excused. All right, Secretary will unlock the machines and roll call. Senator from the 33rd, what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 40th for business outside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senator from the 40th is excused.
Thank you.
It is now time for our morning devotion. All senators, please take your seats and cease audible conversation. I would ask that the doorkeepers secure the chamber at this time. I want to recognize my good friend from the 34th to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance and the introduction of our chaplain of the day.
Would you all stand with me for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag, the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation. Good morning. I am so honored to have the opportunity to have Reverend Otis Byrd, a native of Atlanta, born to his mom, Diana Byrd. Ms. Byrd, would you just please stand? His mom is here. All right. And he's a graduate of Roswell High School, and in 2020, a graduate of Morehouse College, earning his Bachelor's of Arts degree in music with a concentration in conducting. While matriculating, he toured and was a soloist with the world-renowned Morris Brown on my mind, not Morris Brown, Morehouse College Glee Club. Otis has been singing since a child, yet much of his rich spiritual foundation from his home church, Lindsay Street Baptist Church, under the pastorate of Reverend A.A. Motley, and Christ Fellowship of Atlanta, under the leadership of Pastor Chuck Strong. Growth continued as he started directing choirs at the age of 15 and continued to serve the leadership of music ministries of Woodward Baptist Church under the pastorate of his late father, Gospel Tabernacle Church, Bishop Wiley Jackson, Midway Missionary Baptist Church, Reverend Edward S. Reynolds, and Mount Carmel Baptist Church. Reverend Timothy Fleming, Sr., currently he serves the historic Antioch Baptist Church North in Atlanta, where most of you already have heard me brag about it, is my home church where I've been there all my born days. Georgia has served that in Atlanta, Georgia, and has served that congregation for over 15 years under the leadership of Reverend Dr. C.M. Alexander and currently Pastor Kenneth L. Alexander. Minister Byrd has served as the Director of Music Consult for the Martin Luther King Jr. Chapel Choir of Morris Brown College and is the founder and director of Otisburg Junior, the Adoration and Community Choir, founded in 2007. They leased their debut project, The Experience, in 2010, and their single, He Is, in June 2016. Under his leadership, Adoration has shared the stage with such greats as Ricky Dillard, Hezekiah Walker, Pastor Charles Jenkins, Natasha Bedingfield, Kelly Clarkston, and many others. On June 25th, 2017, Minister Byrd preached his trial sermon and was licensed as a minister in the Lord's Church. Currently, he is a senior in the Master of Divinity program at Princeton Theological Seminary. As a minister, I can't say that one. He has conducted the chapel chorus, recognized the gospel chorus, interned at the Office of Religion Life at Princeton University, serving both University Chapel and Hallelujah Church, and interned at Alfred Street Baptist Church in Alexandria, Virginia. I read all of that because we don't get a whole lot of young guys that are in the ministry. But this is a dynamic minister who is up and coming and has his own rights, even though he is the son of a pastor. If you all will help me welcome Minister Otis Byrd.
Thank you, Senator. Good morning to the Honorable Lieutenant Governor, members of the Senate, and everyone in attendance. It is an honor to share and be with you all on today. Recently, I had the privilege of traveling to India for a J-term travel study course entitled Preaching in a Global Context. 11 colleagues in the Master of Divinity program at Princeton Theological Seminary and I, along with our homiletics professor, the Reverend Dr. Cleophas LaRue, spent 2 weeks in India, immersed in various aspects of culture. We visited and studied in places such as Mumbai, Kannur, Madurai, Agra, and New Delhi. One of our assignments for this course was to prepare a sermon centered in justice with the capacity for reach, relevance, and significance beyond an American audience. For this task, Professor LaRue offered us recommendations for biblical passages in which to ground our messages, one of which was Micah 6 and 8. This prophetic pericope reads, God has told you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God. After quoting these words, Dr. LaRue stopped giving the lecture to provide off-script commentary. He said to us, we often know what we require of God, but how often do we take the time to critically and carefully consider what God requires of us? We often know what we require and desire of our spouses, children, family, friends, and jobs, but how often do we inquire what is required of us? Today, I ask us to consider this question: what is required of us? For all that the universe blesses us with, for all that the land and non-human creation provides for us, for the air we breathe, for the joys and privileges we enjoy, for the food we often eat, grown, harvested, and processed by those who themselves go hungry. I ask, what is required of us? In our homes, in our families, in our communities, at church, at the synagogue, at the mosque, in the temple, yes, even in the Georgia State Capitol and on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., I ask us to consider what is required. Micah posed the question, and the psalmist joins in Psalm 116:12, wherein it asks, "What shall I render unto God for all of God's bounty to me?" My friends, as you ponder, you may experience difficulty constructing an answer or response to this question. If so, may I suggest the words of God through the prophet Micah. What is required? Do justice. Shun evil, protest oppression, inequity, and suffering. In our personal lives and daily decision making, we must do justice. What is required? Love kindness, love mercy, forsake cruelty and meanness, forsake vengeance. What is required? Walk humbly, not arrogantly or full of pride and vanity, but humbly, being ever aware of the least, the less, and the lost, the unheard and the forgotten, the underserved and the marginalized. Please pray with me. O God, our God, you who created life in all its diverse beauty, we thank you for this day. We are grateful for all the many ways you manifest your goodness and your faithfulness in our lives. As we enjoy your blessings and go throughout this day and the rest of our lives, may we never forget to ask ourselves what the Lord requires of us. And may our response and our answer always be to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly. We pray this prayer with gratitude and thanksgiving to a great God, a great Redeemer, and a great Liberator, whom we know by many names and worship in a myriad of ways. Amen.
We have a very special guest with us here today. We've got our newly elected senator from the great county of Colquitt County, Sam Watson, ladies and gentlemen. Sam and I got elected to the General Assembly the same year. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years ago. We were young men back then, Sam, and but he ran for the Senate seat that came available from our good friend Dean Burke, and he's going to be a great addition to this body, and it'll be a little learning curve, but we're going to get you there for coming from the House and everything. So glad to have you, and congratulations on your victory, Sam. Thank you. And it's now my time to introduce the doctor of the day, or actually call on Senator from the 33rd to introduce our doctor of the day.
Thank you, Mr. President, my fellow senators, colleagues, friends, and y'all. Today, I have the privilege of introducing the Doctor of the Day. Dr. Emerson is a board-certified urologist, member of the American Urologists Association, fellow of the American College of Surgeons, member of the American Medical Association, and a board member of Cobb County Medical Society. Dr. Emerson is a graduate of Georgia State University, Go Panthers. He attended the Medical College of Georgia and received his medical degree in 1983. He then finished 2 years of general surgery training at the Medical Center of Central Georgia in Macon, followed by 4 years of urology training at the Ochsner Clinic in New Orleans, for y'all from down south. Dr. Emerson returned to Georgia and joined a four-man group of urologists in Marietta in 1989. He also became a member of MAG upon his return. In 1996, he became managing partner of his group and later president. He expanded his group to service 4 hospitals, added an additional 11 urologists, and built a specialty surgical center with the help of his partners. In 2006, Dr. Emerson was appointed to the Medical Association of Georgia. Excuse me, y'all, I'm a little slow here. From Cobb County Medical Society, and was president of Cobb County Medical Society in 2010. He has been very active in the Medical Association of Georgia, serving as second vice president, first vice president, and treasurer for 3 two-year terms, serving this past year as president. He is currently the president of the Medical Association of Georgia. Dr. Emerson's private practice was acquired by WellStar in 2014, where he is now employed. He lives in Marietta with his wife, Christy, who teaches at Kennesaw State University School of Nursing. They have 3 lovely children who are now adults and 4 granddaughters, and we won't call him Grandpa, but I'm going to call him up and welcome Dr. Emerson, the Doctor of the Day, y'all.
Thank you very much, and it is a privilege to be here. I'm available for anybody who needs me. I've already had 2 patients before 10 o'clock this morning. So I want to thank all of you for the work you do. If we had to run for our position as a physician every 2 or 4 years, I doubt many of us would be in the profession. You work hard, you do a lot for the state of Georgia, and I think we live in one of the best states in this country, and I thank you for all you do. I'll reinforce the fact that I am a urologist, and most people eventually need a urologist. So if anybody has any questions or needs any advice related to that, I'm happy to entertain a visit with you up at the medical aid station, and happy to give you my card, which has my cell phone on it. But thank you so much for all you do for the state.
Are there any unanimous consents? It's now time for any senator who wish to rise on a point of personal privilege. Senator from the 51st, would you like to take the wheel?
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, today on our consent calendar, you'll notice Senate Resolution 81. We have a resolution honoring the Georgia CASA and recognizing them today as CASA Day at the state capitol. Georgia CASA has also provided us with their signature s'mores prepared here in Georgia. In fact, they're from my district, Blue Ridge. Some of you may be familiar with Mercier Orchards up in Fannin County. So these are not imported in from some other country. They're made right here in North Georgia, and we encourage you to eat them. If you don't want to eat them, we encourage you to take them over to the agriculture chairman's table, his desk, so he can properly inspect them before they're distributed out throughout the state. Is that a fair question, fair comment? All right, thank you, Mr. Ag Chairman. This year, Georgia CASA is celebrating its 35th year of service and its final geographic expansion to reach Georgia in foster care in all of Georgia's 159 counties. CASA volunteers play a critical role in ensuring that children who have experienced abuse or neglect have opportunities to reach their full potential with the support of permanent connections to family. We recognize CASA volunteers for giving their time, and we commend Georgia CASA and the 45 local CASA organizations for maximizing resources and support through increased community involvement and awareness, local and state advocacy efforts, and a more coordinated, compassionate response to child victims and families in crisis. Today, we welcome over 200 CASA volunteers and advocates to the Capitol. They are all going down to the freight depot as we speak. They've come here today to shed light into critical issues facing children in foster care. I hope you will get a chance to join them at their lunch at noon and spend some time with them. Many of those will be from your districts as well. And please thank them for their service to Georgia's most vulnerable children. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the will.
Thank you, Leader, and it is a wonderful, wonderful organization, and I appreciate you recognizing them. Senator from the 55th, you wish to rise? Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the Senate. I rise today on a point of personal privilege to pay tribute to someone that was near and dear to my heart. My oldest brother, Ralph A. Singleton, Sr. He was born on this day, February 2nd, 1939. He would be 84 years old today if he was still alive. He was, many of you may know, some may not, that my family, my parents, owned a dry cleaning plant. And my father was of the mind that you don't just get something given to you. You have to invest in it. And so all of us, except me, had to go to work. And my oldest brother invested in the dry cleaners. So as a result, he inherited the dry cleaners. And he ran it for years, and then he passed on at the young age of 51. And my youngest brother had invested, and he ran the business. But I'm here today just to pay tribute to him because my father started the dry cleaners in 1945. And my oldest brother was the owner and operator of Singleton Dry Cleaners, which he coined the phrase, the PhDs of dry cleaning. He was a life member of the NAACP, the founding president of the Second Avenue Merchants Association, which is located on Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard now, a member of the Volusia County Chamber of Commerce, a member of the West Side Business and Professional Association, and many others. He coached Little League baseball and football. Tomorrow in Daytona Beach, there will be a dedication, the third annual City of Daytona Beach Midtown Community Development Black History Banner Project. The banner will be displayed on International Speedway Boulevard, and the information that I just gave you will be printed on the banner with a picture. And so I just wanted to make note that I am so proud to be, well, I won't be a part, but I will be a part because my sister and my brother-in-law will attend the ceremony. And that banner will fly on International Speedway Boulevard for all of February, which is Black History Month. So thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, members of the Senate, for listening to my dedication to my brother, Ralph Singleton. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from the 39th, you wish to rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I rise today because I want to recognize our YMCAs of Georgia. Today is the YMCA State Advocacy Day at the Capitol. Yesterday, we approved a resolution honoring and recognizing the work of our YMCAs. Our YMCAs of Georgia touch nearly every part of this state. There are 56 of us in this chamber, and I believe that 36 of us have Ys in our district. There are 17 YMCA associations with over 75 facilities throughout the state. And they are here today, and hopefully you all had the chance earlier this morning to go and have coffee and sit and chat with some of these folks. But I just really want to remind us about the great work that our Ys are doing. They work collectively to increase their ability to build stronger kids, families, and communities through youth development, healthy living, social responsibility, and they play an essential role in our communities in providing engaging, safe, and affordable after-school care. Our Ys are some of the largest providers of early childhood education in our state. I'm reading from part of our resolution, educating and engaging policy and decision makers on the YMCA's mission, history, and programs, and helping to position the YMCAs of Georgia as leaders in and a resource on the topic of early childhood education, health, and wellness. For when policy decisions affecting the Ys throughout Georgia are being made, it's of the utmost importance. They have established partnerships and relationships here in Georgia with our congressional representatives and, of course, with each and every single one of us. And I don't know of that many people who haven't had some experience in their own personal lives with the Y, whether it is learning how to swim there or going and playing basketball or soccer. Taking our kids and enjoying the opportunity to really fellowship with other people in the community. Our Ys have always been there. And so I wanted to just take a moment to recognize the great leaders from the Y. Maybe if you all will stand, they're up in the gallery. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate the work that you do each and every day. Thank you so much. I yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from the 16th, would like to rise on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate it. On your desk this morning, it looks like, well, before that, it looks like we will be dealing with issues of gambling. And one of the things I brought and put on your desk this morning is the Illinois Law Review that has articles dealing with the issues of gambling and the effect upon a culture and a society. You'll also find kind of a shortened version of a consensus of what goes on and how it goes. We're the #1 state to do business with. One of the things that businesses look at, they look at the issue of gambling in the states that they go into. There is also an article, or just to cover, even Newsweek realizes this, is that gambling online is being targeted at our children very heavily, and also the pornography industry is tying jointly into that to bring that into our children. If you will, I think it's interesting to read this. It's also interesting, the #1 state to gamble in is Nevada. And if you look at the things that they are #1 in, they're the things we don't want to be #1 in. And I would just ask that before we make those decisions for the state of Georgia, that you read through this and look at the results of what's there for the gambling industry coming into our state. Mr. President, with that, I'll return that to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from the 8th, like to rise on point of personal, our distinguished agricultural commissioner. It was Lowndes County Day yesterday, too. wasn't it?
Yes, it was, Mr. President. Thank you. I just, with Tyler Harper leaving and becoming the Commissioner of Agriculture, I've assumed the role of being chairman of the Sportsman's Caucus, which we're going to have some sign-up sheets for everybody real soon. I just wanted to make an announcement that this coming Monday is going to be Keep Georgia Wild Day at the Capitol, and we're going to be assembling on the South Wing steps at 9 o'clock. The governor, the Speaker of the House, Lieutenant Governor, Commissioner Mark Williams, and we're going to be celebrating the great outdoors and celebrating our great rich heritage of hunting and fishing in this state. So I hope you all will enjoy us. I hope you will join us. And also want to give a special shout out to my good friend Sam Watson. Sam, welcome. Sam and I have been friends since we were teenagers. We were fraternity brothers in college together, and he's a great American, and he's going to make a great addition to this chamber. So, Mr. President, I appreciate it. I yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. I now call on the senator from the 35th. Would you just like to speak from your desk there? Okay. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I want to just announce that this is, as you know, Black History Month. In 1926, Carter G. Woodson, who was a black historian who wanted to place people of African descent in the center of study of history and human experience, launched Negro History Week, and it has evolved into Black History Month. So in celebration here, you have a flyer on your desk inviting you to come over on Monday to room 307 in the Coverdale Legislative Office Building, and we are going to celebrate Rosa Parks. And there is an effort on a national level to make her birthday national holiday. And it's moving fast. So anyway, this is our celebration, and I hope that you will join us. We will have refreshments, and also invited to come on the Senate floor will be her living niece, who looks just like her, I think, and two of her great nieces. So again, Black History Month, and we invite everybody to celebrate with us. Thank you. Thank you, President. I yield the will.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from the 14th, would you like to rise on a point of personal privilege? 14th, Senator. Senator. Senator from the 14th. You wave? Okay. Senator from the 42nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today, colleagues, to address an issue I know that we all agree on: the well-being and safety of our children. Sadly, here in Georgia, there is increasing harm to our children year over year from firearms. Like a drunk alcoholic or a high drug addict who beats or neglects a child, we are hurting our children every day by not protecting them from bullets. They say the first step to sobriety is acceptance. I believe that if we could collectively accept that we have a problem, we could muster our collective energy, intellect, and resources to provide some solutions to chip away at this problem. Many here today agree with me that we do, in fact, have a problem. For those of you who don't, please listen and pay close attention to the facts. While the death of a child is tragic and weighs on us with a wide range of strong emotions, let's stick to raw facts. The facts are that for several years running now, firearms are the #1 cause of death of children ages 0 to 17 in the United States and in Georgia. More than motor vehicle accidents. In Georgia, an average of 161 children and teens die by guns every year. 73% of children under 10 years old live in homes with guns and report knowing the location of the firearms in their homes. 36% had actually handled those firearms. 1/3 of handguns are stored unlocked and loaded. And parents report that they don't believe that their children know where the guns are, but the children report that they do. States with laws on the books that require firearms to be locked have 68% fewer suicides by guns than states without these laws. Georgia, we do not have such safe storage laws. In this topic, we're also not responding to our constituents. 70% of people, regardless of political affiliation or how they interpret the Second Amendment, support laws that require guns to be properly locked and stored to prevent children from accessing them. Safe storage of firearms away from children, SB 75, which I filed yesterday and was first read today, would not stop every childhood injury or death from firearms, but saving even one life is worth our effort. The shocking case in Virginia, where a 6-year-old very recently shot his teacher, is a prime example of the widespread consequences of legislative and parental failure to prevent kids' access to guns. A teacher, a most valuable asset to our community, was seriously injured. A 6-year-old's life is forever marked, and the school district is having to allocate precious resources to defend itself against a preventable lawsuit. SB 75 would require that a gun owner be charged if a minor gains access to a firearm that the owner failed to secure or left in a place that the child could access. This legislation would hold the negligent party responsible, and we will no longer be able to label these careless incidences tragic accidents, because they are not tragic accidents. They're predictable, and they are the result of negligence. Let me find my spot. I want you to understand why this legislation matters and why it could and would save lives. 75% of the guns used in youth suicide attempts and unintentional injuries are located in the home of a victim, a relative, or a friend. 3,000 children die by firearm suicide each year, and the rate has increased 42% over the last decade. Among 10 to 14-year-olds, that rate has increased a disturbing 114% in the last 10 years. A survey of teenage suicide survivors found that a quarter tried to kill themselves within 5 minutes of deciding to. Easy access, therefore, to unsecured firearms represents a considerably higher risk than access to other tools that could be used to harm oneself. Researchers estimate that if every gun owner in the nation securely locked and stored their weapons today, the number of gun-related accidental deaths and suicides among children and teenagers would drop by as much as 1/3. I am not here to take people's guns away, but I would like to make widespread gun ownership safer for children. Our state leaders' refusal to take common sense and broadly popular steps to regulate this is not just inaction. It's negligence that threatens the lives of our children. Thank you. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from the 33rd, wish to rise on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President, my fellow senators, colleagues, friends, and y'all. Today, I have the honor and privilege, as you know, this is beginning of Black History Month, to start off in good fashion by recognizing the senator from the 55th, Senator Gloria Butler. As some of you know, she's a trailblazer, becoming the first woman to be the minority leader in the Georgia Senate. She's a Democrat and was elected to the state Senate in 1988 and first served in 1999 to represent District 55 in DeKalb County. With 19 years of service, Senator Butler, the senator from the 55th, is the highest ranking female in the Georgia Senate. She has held leadership positions every year during her impressive tenure. In the state Senate, she is the Senate Democratic Caucus woman, and she is also secretary for the State and Local Governments Operations and Urban Affairs Committee is part of her membership. She is also a member of the Ethics, Health, and Human Services, Reapportionment, and Redistricting. During her tenure with the Georgia legislature, Senator Butler, the senator from the 55th, has sponsored and co-sponsored many important pieces of legislation that has impacted millions of people's lives across the state in a positive manner. As Legislator of the Year award that she received from the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus, Senator Butler was also appointed by the Lieutenant Governor at one time to serve on the Georgia Workforce Investment Board. An active member of her community, she volunteers tirelessly with positive growth and youth programs that provide housing and counseling for many young men and women throughout the community. I want to take this time to recognize this history-blazing person during Black History Month. And pardon me, y'all, I lost my dollar store glasses, so I'm borrowing the senator from the 15th glasses. That's why I kind of stumbled. And I yield the well. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from the 3rd, I'd like to rise on point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise just to note to my colleagues that you'll notice on your desk an invitation from the Brunswick Golden Isles Chamber of Commerce to attend our State Leadership Recognition Dinner, which is on the 21st of February. There'll be a bunch of folks coming up from Brunswick, and I promise you they're bringing the entire recent shrimp crop, which will be cooked for you. So please come join us. Thank you. I yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. And Senator from the 14th, I believe, waved. Is he nowhere to be seen, Senator? Well, Twitter is activated right now, you know. Does any other senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? You have a consent calendar of privileged resolutions before you. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Is there objection to the adoption of the resolutions on the consent calendar? Chair hears none, and the calendar is adopted. Are there any motions to withdraw or commit? Chair hearing none. We're in a posture right now, senators, where we are waiting on, we're going to be waiting on the House. They're finishing the amended budget today and going to immediately transmit it to our chamber. However, you know, we're going to have to wait a little bit. So stand by, and we'll actually we have a rules calendar right now, so we'll go ahead and go to the rules calendar. But after we're done with our rules calendar, we will recess for a bit and probably come back into the chamber a little after lunch, just depending on how quick the House gets the budget to us. So, the Secretary will read the caption of SR 32.
Senate Resolution number 32 by Senator Harbison of the 15th, a resolution urging the Attorney General to negotiate with the state of Alabama terms of a reciprocal immunity agreement for officials of either state carrying out certain official duties in the territorial limits of the other state that can be adopted by the legislatures of each state. The Senate Committee on Judiciary recommends that this resolution do pass, respectfully submitted by Senator Strickland of the 17th Chairman. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Recognize the senator from the 15th. Speak to the measure. The Dean of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a very simple resolution, reciprocal immunity resolution urging the Attorney General to negotiate with the state of Alabama to have some immunity for our workers when they go over in Alabama for law enforcement and or rescue operations and things of that sort. From myself, the Columbus delegation, as well as the senator from the 29th. So if there are no questions, Mr. President, I would yield the well.
You have no questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Would any other senator wish to rise, speak to the measure? Is there objection to agreeing to the report on the committee, which is favorable? The question is on the adoption of the resolution. All those in favor of the resolution will vote yea. Opposed, nay. The Secretary will unlock the machines. On the adoption of the resolution, the yeas are 52 and the nays are 0. This resolution, is having received the requisite majority, is therefore adopted. As stated earlier before, we're waiting on the amended budget from the House, so we're going to stand at ease until 12:15, and then we'll reconvene at 12:15. Hopefully, they'll be finished with the amended budget. Senator from the 34th, what purpose do you rise? You would like to speak in the well? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. I just wanted to rise once again to thank you all who didn't find it robbery to wear your red today, for all of us heart attack survivors, and for those who didn't wear the red, who will have their pins on to say you stand with us as survivors of the #1 killer of anybody, that's men, women, doesn't matter, heart disease. We want you to take care of yourselves, and we want to keep that as a reminder, and it's very important to me as a survivor since '03. So it is important to take care of yourself, and thank you all for participating in Go Red Day. Mr. President, I'll yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. Senator from the 21st, do you wish to rise on point of principles?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to announce to the members of the Appropriations Subcommittee on Economic Development, you'll be receiving a letter today. We will have a meeting on Wednesday at 1 o'clock in 310 LOB. So please be there in allot 2 hours' time for our subcommittee to meet on economic development. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, we're going to stand at ease until 12:15, and hopefully we will have the amended budget. Yes, yes, ma'am. Senator, would you like to make an announcement? Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. It looks like we're going to be trying to figure out how to eat and convene in other meetings and be back here on the floor at 12:15. So that's another day in the life of the Gold Dome. We're used to it rolling that way, are we not? I will just ask the dean that rhetorical question and not expect an answer. But I'm here to let you know about one more lunch that's weekly on Thursdays, and that's the Georgia Working Families Legislative Caucus lunch. And upon noon or upon adjournment, if you've got the bandwidth, please join us in 307 for the in-person lunch meeting and presentations on budget items. Thank you very much. I hope to see as many of you as are able to attend the luncheon for the Working Families Caucus, 307 CLOB. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And we're going to go ahead and read the announcement for committee duties today. So, Secretary, read the announcements.
The Rules Committee meeting is canceled. The Children and Families Committee meeting is canceled. The State and Local Government Operations Committee will meet at 2 p.m. in 125 of the Capitol. The Regulated Industries and Utilities Committee meeting is canceled. The Public Safety Committee meeting is canceled. The Judiciary Committee will meet at 3 p.m. in 307 CLOB. That completes the order, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. So we'll reconvene at 12:15, and so we're just going to stand in recess for the moment. Thank you. Read the message from the House.
Mr. President, the House has passed by the requisite constitutional majority the following bill of the House: House Bill 18 by Representative Burns of the 159th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act making and providing appropriations for the state fiscal year, beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023, known as the Great Appropriations Act. Mr. President, that completes the order.
Thank you. We'll assign that resolution to Appropriations Committee. Majority Leader, would you like to make a motion?
I sure would. Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate stand adjourned pursuant to SR 6 until 10 a.m. Monday, February the 6th.
The Majority Leader has moved. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, no. I hope nobody says it too loud. We are adjourned till Monday, 10 a.m., February 6th. We adjourn.